Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Nëïgsëndöïg Cöcülës show. My name is Nëïgsëndöïg Cöcülës, the namesake for this year's podcast. For today, I am going to be covering WWE video games. Now, anymore, I don't tend to watch WWE, especially of the modern day. What even happened to WWE after... Oh shoot, which era was it? It'll probably be covered. I am a sucker for the ruthless aggression era of WWE. That was one of the best. That and I think Attitude Era was also really good among many wrestling fans. Sometimes I do like to be caught up with what's going on in modern WWE, but not really watch it. Rarely will I do that. But I will follow WrestleMania and Maven Huffman, a former WWE wrestler. Now, if there are any recommendations that you have for me for this type of thing, specifically ruthless aggression, yes, I know about the Kurt Angle show, by the way, I would really appreciate these recommendations. Now, there are arguments that could be made for what the best of these video games happen to be. This depends on what era people like. If it's going to be, say, Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression, the new era, and 2 wildcards. Oh, wait a minute. That's exactly what I'm going to be doing today. Now, I do have a few eras that I have 100% recommended. I was born right around the start of the Ruthless Aggression era. Never really played one of these games until 2022 or so. I tend to play older games rather than newer ones. Though, I do have an exception that comes from the new era. Now, you may be asking, since I happen to use Linux, would I recommend you play these games on Linux, either through emulation or otherwise? Well, you know me. Absolutely I would. You have better performance, despite some bugs in the PC title for the new era. The emulation is actually really good, despite our PCS3 having problems, but those are getting fixed. I am the type of guy that will play games not on store shelves or digital storefronts anymore. And plus, I've always done this on a Linux PC, because I've used it myself for over 5 years. August of 2026 will be 6 years. Jeez, I'm starting to get old. Anyway, let's go to our first game. The first game I will be discussing today is going to be 2000's WWF No Mercy, which is my Attitude Era pick. This is a title with a tumultuous history on the Nintendo 64. It is the best game of this era by far. Many people have researched this type of thing and determined this to be the best one. It's an improvement from WWF WrestleMania 2000. Well, it was made by Aki Corporation using their own engine. Co-developed by Asmic or Osmic Ace. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that name. Now, the issues, you can have slow speed at times. The graphics are blocky, but what could you do with such low specs at the time? The difficulty is pretty stupid. The difficulty spike is pretty horrific. There was a save bug where if you had the initial release of the game, your save file was basically a ticking time bomb. How is this fixed? Well, this got fixed in the second edition release, version 1.1. Now, there are apparently tons of mods, like WCW Feel the Bang, Legends of Wrestling, Showdown 64. There is VPW2 Freem Edition. What is this for? Well, this is for Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. Or Virtual Pro Wrestling 2? It's a Japanese exclusive title, but you could probably emulate that. WWF Legends 2.1, Forever Indie, AEW vs. NXT version 2, Project Outsider, and No Mercy 2K22. For the time, there were 60 playable wrestlers. Despite this being dated, the call mode is actually phenomenal for the time. And you unlock in-game items with SmackDown Mail, not limited to, but including claw items and arenas. This is arcade gameplay with strikes or grapples with a button and direction combo. You have a momentum system called Attitude, due to the name of the meter, and a higher level increases the chance of a submission or pinfall. You have multiple modes for this time, with the newly added ladder mode. Again, this was 2000. You get 4-player couch co-op. Couch co-op was emphasized at this time, and I think it still is in some cases, though we're going for more like online shenanigans. Online usually means surveilled, so keep this in mind. You don't have any pay-to-win shenanigans here because, well, you have an actual currency you earn for championship title runs. You have 7 championships, meaning 7 storylines. This is for each of the championships that were active at the time. There is a survival mode as well for this game. Think of SVR 06's Slobber Knocker mode. Think of that, but in an N64 environment. Now, this is indeed simple but extremely effective in how the game plays. It is replayable due to its structure, and to this very day, it is still a well-known house name of a cult classic. Very good pick for those who are into the Attitude Era of professional wrestling. Next up will be my Ruthless Aggression pick, 2003's WWE SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. In Japan, you would have known this game as Exciting Pro Wrestling 5 Here Comes the Pain. This is a PS2 title made by Yuke's, which is an improvement from WWE SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. This would be the final game of the SmackDown series before SVR became a thing in 2004. It is an arcade-based gameplay style, so arcade controls, with advanced and extensive grappling system, body damage displays. These are apparently new for the time. You have a submission meter, and you can even break submission holds. Individual stats, those are attributes. And did I mention there's a debut for a couple different match types for Ruthless Aggression, specifically Elimination Chamber and Bra and Panties? This is Ruthless Aggression after all, so of course we would have that. The Bra and Panties match, I'll just explain what this was. This is a humiliation ritual, is what this is. It is a female-only match. It's a female match type with some sort of stipulation or something like that. I guess that's the stip. And you're basically looking at ladies wrestling, and their whole goal is to strip them to just their bra and panties. This is super embarrassing, but it was a rare sight to see. This happened only once at pay-per-view. We do not have this match type anymore. That was replaced with Fulfill Your Fantasy or Fulfill Your Dreams, I think. I forgot what it was called. We don't have that anymore. We actually have real, raw, female wrestling. So that's a plus. Elimination Chamber is still a thing. It's still a thing even to this very day. At the time, we have over 50 wrestlers on the roster, both active, again at this very time, and those who are no longer with us. There are legends that are included in this game, such as Jimmy Snuka, better known as Superfly, Rowdy Roddy Piper, and Deadman Undertaker, old school Undertaker. This is the final game that The Rock and Stone Cold are playable as non-legends before Dwayne and Steve Austin became legends themselves. Their first appearances for Cena, Batista, and Mysterio, and of course, Glenn Jacobs, without his mask, he went by the name Kane, would also make a debut in this game. We have a season mode that is updated, including decisions on a menu screen, and the comp mode is actually pretty nice as well. The cost suite is pretty stacked for the time, with some limits, but it is fantastic overall. To end this, I actually have a fun fact about this engine. This is the engine Konami would ask Yuks to use in the game Rumble Roses, which is a female-oriented pro wrestling game. That was improved upon with Rumble Roses and its sequel, Rumble Roses XX. So that is weird, apparently. Now we can discuss my new era pick, WWE 2K19. It will be the PC version of this game. It is the final Yuks developed WWE game before making the absolutely horrible AEW Fight Forever. Now, they would be replaced by Visual Concepts since 2019's 2K20. We know how much of a flop 2K20 was. But anyway, in 2K19, the simulation style was completely removed. They went more of a simcade direction. It's actually not bad, but yes, they went simcade. The 2K showcase for this particular game is of Daniel Bryan's career. This was the first to be featured since the 2K17 Hall of Fame showcase. This would have 11 matches with 11 different models of Daniel Bryan, from the Velocity matchup against Cena when he was Bryan Danielson. By the way, that is his legal matrix name. To Shane McMahon teaming up against KO and Sami Zayn. To even a fictional mirror match against his past self at WrestleMania 34. Now, we do have a new mode for towers. There are two modes. The online version has been unplayable since March of 2022. The offline towers still work. My career, from what I've researched, is the best of this series. It is a linear career of a wrestler, you the player, and you receive the nickname Buzz. I played this myself, and it's 14 chapters long, with a 15th chapter being a title defense. I'm not going to say what this title is, but it is a very prestigious WWE title, and you have to defend it in chapter 15. And it's basically just an endless mode, essentially. You do have something called Road to Glory, which does return, but with 8 factions. Road to Glory is unplayable due to offline servers, but boy, you have a lot. You have, with the base game, pre-orders, and the DLC, in total, you have 224 wrestlers that were part of this game. 2K20, meanwhile, would shatter this massive record. This also was the game with the most duplicates. Yes, the most dupes. Ugh. It did have generally favored reviews, being the best of the 2K series. Visual Concepts was never really able to do what Yuks was able to do. Despite the fact that, yes, the Yuks guys were apparently very lazy. Well, I did hear you want to give your stuff, the hardest stuff, to the laziest people. Why is this? Well, the laziest people will find a way to actually solve stuff better than people who aren't lazy. But, that said, let's go into our wildcard games, of which I have 2. The first one is a 2003 vehicular combat game called WWE Crush Hour. This is a demolition derby game with mountain guns and foreign objects. The mountain guns are just that. Foreign objects are like your specialized weapons or something like that. Each of the 32 playable characters have this. It is compared to Twisted Metal because it is a Twisted Metal spin-off, or actually a knockoff, if you think about that for a second. But I guess it's like inspired by Twisted Metal because apparently that's such a good game. I have to play that, by the way, because I've never done it. You've got quite the wacky vehicle selection. Again, you have 32 playables, 23 starters, and 9 unlockables for this game. Audio commentary is only done by good old JR. That's Jim Ross for those who aren't of the old school fandom like I am. It is not known very well, but the game was actually okay. Though I loved playing it on an emulator, I kind of want to do that again if I'm being fair. Would I recommend it? I would give this one a shot. But keep in mind, it is a budget title that was around $30 US or so. It's actually not a bad title, but not the best either. I'd say it's pretty decent. So it could be relatively easy to find, because it's like not that rare. And finally, we have the second wildcard game, which is 2005's WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. In Japan, you know this game as Exciting Pro Wrestling 7, or I'll try to do this in Japanese, which I think is Exciting Pro Desu, or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. Again, this is a 2005 PS2 WWE game from the Ruthless Aggression era. It's a wildcard pick, even though I already have a Ruthless Aggression era pick, and that is Here Comes the Pain. This goes for realism and authenticity as the goal. It breaks away from the arcane gameplay. I think I just described Simcade. Anyway, Buried Alive is new for this game, but also fulfill your fantasy. I believe these are called stipulations. Or I think stips are like something else entirely. But that doesn't matter. GM mode makes a really good first appearance. Apparently the best GM mode is in SVR 07. You can get completely whacked if you are not careful in GM mode. You have to play a very specific way, so keep this in mind. The cost suite is, don't get me wrong, it's pretty good. Not as much as Here Comes the Pain, but you do make up for that with Create an Entrance, which is new for the game. Momentum Bar is introduced in this game, replacing the clean and dirty meters from the SmackDown series. Faces and heels, clean and dirties, are portrayed to be probably some of the best mechanics I've seen in an SVR game. You have the stamina bar, which is also new. If you go more elaborate with your stuff, you actually lower your stamina faster. And you have to regenerate in order for strategic shenanigans to be done. You also have the hardcore attribute, which is new. This will insinuate weapons damage in hardcore matches. You have specialized types of grapples, including power, speed, tech, brawler, martial arts, luchador, and old school. I am honestly in love with these old school games. Each has a clean and dirty category for grapples, and this will include submissions as well. So, in all points here, we have 5 types, 5 grapples. So that's what we have. You have some pay-per-view arenas included. These include 2004 Great American Bash, Vengeance 2004, SummerSlam 2004, Unforgiven 2004, No Mercy 2004, Taboo Tuesday 2004, Survivor Series 2004, Armageddon 2004, 2005's New Year's Revolution, Royal Rumble 2005, jeez, what am I thinking? No Way Out 2005, WrestleMania 21, Backlash 2005, Judgment Day 2005, and Extreme Championship Wrestling One Night Stand 2005 version. What the flip is this all about? Those are your pay-per-view arenas. You've got 20 new debuts in this game, like the late Hulk Hogan with 80s NWO Hollywood Hogan and 2000s Hogan. You've got, of course, Stone Cold. And depending on the version, there are 62 or 63 wrestlers. There are 63 in the PSP version because Jake the Snake Roberts makes an appearance in this version. You can, however, unlock him with cheat devices, or you can somehow connect a PSP to the PS2 and be able to go that way. Now, the create modes were being quite a bit better in some ways. There were a lot more things for the cost suite. You have Create a Belt, which does make its return. The tag team titles are also in this game. You can make tag team titles. Create a superstar is what it's called, not create a wrestler or CAW. It's more or less the same as the previous installments. New features like makeup, facial features for realism, shirts, pants, some of that stuff is new. You have created a moveset. It does remove moves, and that was to make way for some new ones. There were 400 moves that were removed during the progress, or shall I say, development of this game. Creative Stable has 5 pre-made stables. One of them is La Resistance. Stables are essentially groups of 2 to 5 wrestlers. You do not have a 60-second limit with Create an Entrance, whereas with, say, Here Comes the Pain, you did have a 60-second limit. This is removed. It does have criticism compared to Day of Reckoning 2, of which I haven't played, due to loading times being pretty long. This is for ease of use also not being that great. But at the time, we had great reviews. And that is going to do it for this episode. Each episode releases every Wednesday afternoon, if there are no scheduling conflicts, at 4 p.m. Pacific Time. You can listen to this podcast on Wavelake, YouTube, and any other Podcast 2.0 player. You can use Podverse, Fountain, AntennaPod, and many more 2.0 standard players. But if you listen to this podcast on YouTube, just copy the RSS feed, located in the show notes, and paste it to your Podcast 1.0 player, like Spotify or Apple Music, or wherever you can receive RSS feeds. I listen on my Pixel 8 Pro with Graphene OS, using Sono Beta, which is not online at all, it's local. It honestly works great for my needs. Now, I am out of time for today's episode though. Thank you, and good night. I'm not done yet. Here's a blooper for you. Our third pick for today is the new era pick, which is WWE 2K19. This is the PC version. I'm probably gonna have to do more bloopers, aren't I? Maybe I should.